Your story matters.
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 There is hope.
There is love.
There is strength. There is power.
There is resilience in your story.
There's so much courage.
There's empowerment in your story.
Your story matters, and your story matters to others.
Your story matters.
Your voice matters.
Your healing, your journey.
Your pain matters.
You matter.
Your story
is incredible.
It's unique.
It's not over.
matters.
Your story is still being written.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight and showing up for MenHealing and for male survivors. My name is John Walker, and I am a proud supporter of MenHealing and all the fantastic work they do. Being a survivor of sexual abuse myself, MenHealing's Weekends of Recovery program was essential to my healing and recovery. I urge all male survivors to take advantage of the services MenHealing offers. To help kick off MenHealing's 90K in 90 Days campaign, I am personally pledging a matching donation of $5,000 tonight. Join me, give generously, and donate whatever amount you can to support this incredible cause. Together, we can show male survivors that they matter.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We are so grateful that you've joined us tonight, and you're in for a treat. We have a schedule of wonderful events, entertainment, and some updates about where MenHealing is today. So thank you for being here and for being a supporter of MenHealing. I am Maria Estrada, and I am an advisor for the board, an admirer of this organization, which is healing the world one man at a time. And with me tonight are Joanna Colerain, who is the chair of the board of MenHealing, as well as Rob Valentine, who is a board member. He's also an alumnus of the Weekends of Recovery and a male survivor. And they're going to introduce themselves. Go ahead, Joanna.
Hi, I'm Joanna Colerain, and I serve as the chair on the MenHealing Board of Directors. I've been involved with the Weekends of Recovery for many years. During the years that I was a member of the facilitator team, I watched men of all ages tell their stories of abuse and or assault to each other, many for the first time in their lives. I watched them go from anxiety to an experience of being believed, supported, and safe. As a board member, I have seen men who are healing and becoming empowered and speaking out. Men who are changing the way we protect our boys and changing the way we define manhood. It is an honor to witness their courage and healing. MenHealing is kicking off our annual fundraising campaign, 90 and 90. Tonight, we'd like to share some entertainment and some interviews to let you know what MenHealing has been doing this year and also the exciting plans we have for 2022. Above all, we want to let you know tonight why your story matters. This is a celebratory year for MenHealing. Last month marked 20 years of Weekends of Recovery, and next month we will hold our 90th weekend. But we are so much more than the weekends now, as you will find out in the next hour. This year we have started a prison outreach program and a peer-led support group program. We offer more days of recovery and have added virtual weekends. We continue to produce videos that inspire hope and healing for all men who have been sexually victimized. We are a grassroots organization and are dedicated to social justice, both internally in our organization and externally in collaboration with other organizations. Men who are alumni of the weekends are part of our staff, our volunteers, and our board. Our services are supported by donors like you. We invite you tonight to make a donation to invest in your family, friends, neighbors, and work community, and let them know that their story matters. One of our amazing volunteers, Rob Valentine, is the newest member of our MenHealing Board of Directors, and I'd like to introduce you to Rob.
Thank you very much, Joanna, and thank you, Maria. Thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. I'd like to start off with a story that goes back to 2010. And I was a part of a group survivor therapy group down in Detroit. And that's about 2 hours from my home. The reason that I had driven to Detroit was because I didn't want to be going to therapy in the town for where I currently live today, but also at that time was working for a major corporation. And during one of our therapy sessions, one of the gentlemen mentioned that there was these male survivor weekends of recovery all around the United States, and that it is transformational for anyone that's ever attended. I can tell you that on my drive to the first weekend that I went to in Ohio in 2010, I was very, very nervous. I was scared. I was worried, who was I going to meet here? And I ended up finding out that I was among some of the strongest, bravest men that I've ever met in my life. Each one of us confronted what had been done to us, and we all took a stance for our own recovery and that we could recover together. And for that, I am very grateful. I had the privilege to attend a couple other weekends. I want to jump back to 2010 and tell you that as I was leaving the weekend of recovery, even though I had learned so very much, I was still carrying a lot of shame with me. I had carried shame that said there was something wrong with me, shame that said that I am a mistake. And you know, when I left that weekend, I didn't even give my last name because I was worried about people finding out who I was. And as it turns out, who I am is I'm a survivor. I am a husband. I am a father. I am a brother. I am a grandfather now to this day, and just grateful again to be here. And since that time, I have now begun telling my story, not only here locally, but literally around the world. And for that, I have a lot of gratitude to Male Survivor and the Male Survivor Weekends of Recovery. So what I say to all of you is that as you think about the organization of MenHealing, it is really important that you think about different ways that you might be able to become involved. That may be telling your story. That may be, as Joanna talked about, making a donation, whether it's $1, whether it's large dollars. We would love to see as many donors as possible. It may be that you want to join a weekend of recovery yourself. It may be that you want to attend one of the online therapy groups. And again, what we'd like to do, though, more than ever, is that we want you to be a part of the organization MenHealing. And we hope that tonight's event shows you some of the talented people and hope that you'll want to join more of MenHealing events in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. And thank you, Joanna. We're going to see our first piece. It's a piano piece, and Rob is going to introduce the pianist. Rob, go ahead.
Great, thank you, Maria. Yes, it is my honor to introduce Peitao, who is going to play some incredible pieces for us tonight. As an alumni, again, it is a privilege to introduce one of the facilitators from the Weekend of Recovery, Peitao. Peitao, and this is what Peitao wrote for me to say to you all tonight. Peitao says, I am an assistant professor of counseling at Northern Illinois University, and I am an amateur pianist and a singer outside of work. Music is meant to bring hope and create connection through conveying messages and stories that can be understood universally, regardless of language and cultural background. For tonight, I have chosen music from three different composers. The first piece from three different composers. The first piece is from Chopin, commonly known to as The Waterfall. To me, this piece represents hopefulness and optimism, reflected by the steady right hand and the groundlessness in the left hand. The second and third pieces are short preludes that reflect sensitivity and struggle. The last piece is a jazz-style concert, commonly known to as pastoral. I see an abundance of freedom and playfulness in this piece. I hope these pieces of different styles represent the full range of human emotions that may be present in the healing of trauma. I am grateful for MenHealing for its dedication to the well-being of male survivors of sexual victimization, and I am extremely honored to contribute in such meaningful ways. I hope that you enjoy the performances tonight. Peitao.
Feel free to clap, everybody. That was beautiful, Peitao. He's joined the ranks of extraordinary facilitators for the weekends of recovery. Thank you again for being with us, for supporting MenHealing. I'm going to invite now Howard Fradkin. Howard, it's good to see you. Howard is the first chairperson of the weekends of recovery. And it's great to see you, Howard. Howard has been a leader in this field and has been bringing men and women together to support the healing of their bodies, their minds, their spirits for decades. Howard, I would love to know, would you share with us what are some of the most gratifying moments in your decades of work in the healing of men and women?
Maria, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here and to support MenHealing tonight. I want to thank all my colleagues at MenHealing, and especially I want to thank every man and woman survivor who has trusted me to join them in their journeys of healing, in individual therapy, group therapy, and of course, in the weekends of recovery. Indeed, I'm filled with tremendous gratitude for so many moments in my career. I started my career focusing on people diagnosed with HIV and AIDS. I co-led 25 weekends of recovery for those men and women, which were very powerful and gave hope to those folks who, at the time, there really was very little hope medically. This is where I first learned of the power of healing in community as a key element of healing from trauma. I attended the 2nd to 4th conferences about male survivors as a psychologist survivor, where I met other therapist survivors, and together we bonded and felt committed to make these every other year conferences into something that could have much more impact. That is, we wanted to start a movement. I don't think any of us would have used those words at the time. We just knew we needed an organization. And at the fourth conference, I and other folks from Ohio volunteered to sponsor the fifth conference, which became the organizing meeting for what became NAMSV, the National Organization Against Male Sexual Victimization. I became one of the first board members and eventually became president in '97. Based on our success with the HIV Weekends of Recovery, I, along with Mikkel Rao, who was already doing weekends in California, and 3 other therapists, decided to launch the Male Survivor Weekends of Recovery in 2001, the weekend before 9/11. We had 8 guys there, and it was an amazing start to what would become the powerful Weekends of Recovery program, where now several thousand men and male-identified people and women have found community and healing. Our vision was to create a healing space for male survivors to feel safe enough to tell their stories, learn skills to empower them to take their next steps in their healing journey, and to co-create a healing journey, healing community, as we knew healing is most powerfully done in community. One outcome of the weekends was that men returned to their communities and started to create peer support groups, which multiplied many times over all over the US and Canada. There were hundreds of moments in these weekends which were incredibly inspiring to me. Remembering how isolated and shut down many men were at the beginning, and then seeing them open up, take huge risks, and break through their shame. So at the very end, those isolated men and sometimes their partners had now joined a healing community, brotherhood and sisterhood, full of joy, hope, and embracing the possibility of moving from being a victim to thriving. One other moment of gratitude was ending the weekend singing Josh Groban's You Raised Me Up or other songs, and just looking around and seeing all the connections. Probably the moment I'm most grateful for was when in 2010, Oprah Winfrey invited 50 of our 50+ Weekend of Recovery alumni, Jim Struve and I, to join the audience for the 200 Men shows about male survivors of sexual trauma. The alumni encouraged the Oprah producers to invite me to be their expert. And I was extremely honored to join Oprah and Tyler Perry that day. And what resulted, as Oprah wished, was the explosive opening of doors of healing for male survivors all over the planet. Oprah invited me back in 2020 for After Neverland, a show with 2 survivors of Michael Jackson's sexual abuse. Lastly, I'm grateful to Oprah and Tyler for inspiring me to write and then helping me publish Joining Forces, Empowering Male Survivors to Thrive. Tyler Perry generously wrote the foreword, and I'm grateful to all the survivors who trusted me to tell their stories for the book, and for all the survivors who have utilized the book as one of the resources and sources of hope. Now I'd like to introduce the Columbus Gay Men's Chorus. I love the mission of CGMC, voices raised, lives changed. And that, of course, mirrors exactly my experience with the HIV/AIDS community and the male survivor community. So in 1993, the 3rd year of CGMC, I joined as a second tenor and have been with them ever since. Singing and joining my voice with others not only changes all of us in chorus, but I've powerfully seen how it changes not only Columbus, but indeed the world community, to inspire them to accept us for who we are and to empower them to accept themselves. Their sons, daughters, husbands, wives, significant others, friends, coworkers, and neighbors. Tonight, I'm honored to help introduce you to my chorus brothers and sisters. We'll listen to 2 songs. The first one is called What's Up? It's a song performed by 4 non-blondes, written by Linda Perry. It's a song that cries out for change, like the change we survivors all want for our society to wake up, acknowledge the truth that women and men are survivors, and that as a society, it is up to all of us to work together to create paths for healing and justice. The second song, Light, is from the Broadway play Next to Normal. Written by Brian Yorkie and Tom Kitt, it is the finale of the play. It's a song that I hope will inspire you. Yes, it's a song about the truth about healing from trauma. The words say, quote, "Some ghosts are never gone, but still we go on. And give me pain if that's what's real. It's the price we pay to heal. And then it goes on to affirm that no matter how dark it gets, no matter how alone you feel, there will be light, and we can find our way with the support of others. Brothers and sisters, there will be light. Open your eyes, your hearts, your souls. Healing and thriving are absolutely possible and achievable for you. And now the Columbus Gay Men's Chorus.
I realized quickly, and I knew I should, that this world was made up of this brotherhood of men, for whatever that means. And so I cry sometimes, just to get it all out what's in my head. I'm feeling a little peculiar, and so I wake up in the morning and I step outside. Take a deep breath, and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I said, hey, 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 hey. I said, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And I said, hey, 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 what's going on? What's going on?
We need some light. First of all, we need some light. You can't sit here in the dark and all alone. It's a sorry sight. It's just you and me. Will it? You'll see.
the things we feel, but some hurts never heal. Some ghosts are never gone, but we go on. We still go on, and we find some way to survive. And you find out you don't have to be happy at all. To be happy, you're alive. Day after day, day after day, giving pain if that's what's real. It's the price we pay to feel. The price of love is lost, but still we pay. We love anyway.
Thank you. Thank you for your tremendous dedication for decades to this work. And thank you for bringing the gay men chorus to us tonight.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite Michael Munson now to join us. And while he's doing that, I just want to say that Michael has dedicated his work to making a difference in the lives of transgender, non-conforming, and BIPOC survivors. That's members of the Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities. And Michael, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you for joining the panel. Michael, the question I have for you is, could you help us understand what is the relationship between the work that you do and the work of MenHealing?
Thank you for the question, and thank you for being such a great host this evening. And thanks to everybody who's here tonight, participating with us and enjoying all of these incredible performances. As Maria said, I am the executive director of Forge, which is a transgender anti-violence organization that's focused on training and technical assistance for victim service providers, as well as mental health and other allied professionals. I am also incredibly proud to be on the board of directors for MenHealing for the past roughly 2 years. So I want to take a few minutes to share a little bit about MenHealing's deep, persistent, and engaged commitment to racial justice. Part of that ongoing work includes our strong commitment to increasing board and staff and team members who are from many different communities, who have a breadth of information and experiences that are often underrepresented or not fully acknowledged or fully centered. In addition to increasing our anti-racism efforts, walking the walk, not just talking the talk, we're also committed to other forms of social and environmental justice. And part of that is actively enhancing LGBTQ+ participation, again, on all of the different levels, so board and staff, team, and participants. Like Joanna noted earlier this evening, MenHealing branched out from just providing weekends of recovery to now having many other initiatives like the Men Story Project, Survivors Healing Journeys. If you haven't listened to the amazing stories that those men told a few months ago, please go to MenHealing's website and listen to all of those incredible stories. The project was really, really amazing. Building off of the Story Project success and staying true to the mission to expand services to a broader audience, Forge and MenHealing are collaborating on a new project, Voices of Healing Trans and Non-Binary Survivors Speak Out. This is just one example of our commitment to break the boxes and expand possibilities and healing. As many of you know, trans people, so folks who are have gender identities that are different than the sex that they were assigned at birth, experience high rates of sexual abuse, assault, and victimization. Like men who are survivors of sexual victimization, the majority of trans survivors don't fit the dominant paradigm of male offenders, female victims. So trans survivors, like male survivors, share similar types of stigma and shame and barriers to services because just so many of the services that are available are just plain not designed for people who are not cisgender women. MenHealing and Forge are both deeply committed to the power of narrative, and that's through words, through art, through music, as you're hearing tonight, and offering programming that uplifts and empowers and stimulates resilience for both male survivors of any gendered history and for the wide range of trans and non-binary survivors. Voices of Healing Trans and Non-Binary Survivors Speak Out is currently recruiting. So if you know people or if you're somebody that's interested, we encourage you to apply, and I'll put that link in the chat in a little bit. We'll have 2 premiere events next year in March 31st, which is the Trans Day of Visibility, again, marking some of our days in history, and spanning over to April 1st, which is the first day of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We hope that you'll join us for those 2 events. So I'd like to introduce you to the next video. Simone Ferro is a dance instructor at the University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee. She is both a friend and a colleague, someone who brings grace and passion and compassion and a zest for all of the things that she does. I am so grateful to have her in my life and so grateful that she said yes eagerly when I asked her if she would contribute to the 90,000 in 90 days. Simone will introduce the piece that we're going to show next in the video, but I wanted to add by noting that all of the dancers and performers in this video created pieces specifically for this kickoff event. Their music was created by one of the dancers and individual components were edited by one of Simone's colleagues. I am incredibly grateful for Simone and for all those who took the prompt that focused on MenHealing and created this powerful collection of dance. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Simoni Ferro, and I am a dance artist, researcher, and educator located currently in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the homeland of traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee nations. It is my pleasure to join you today to support the work and the extraordinary cause organized by MenHealing. I hope you will consider supporting their fundraising campaign to raise $90,000 in 90 days. Although I am only the connective tissue for what you are about to see, with this video, I will introduce you to 12 incredible artists from coast to coast, including our third coast. Yet, all of them have two things in common. They are faculty, staff, students, and alumni from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee Department of Dance. But most importantly, they are all exceptional advocates for the dance forms they practice and play. The beauty of their movements and sonic landscapes come from a place of engagement, healing, and advocacy. A place where the body is the engine for reconciliation and freedom. I hope you will consider this modest contribution to this beautiful cause and will step up and join this fundraising campaign. Thank you.
Yes, yes, y'all. Yes, 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 y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. And you don't stop to the beat, y'all. And you don't stop. Yes, yes, y'all. And you don't stop to the beat, y'all. And you don't stop. Yes, yes, y'all. And you don't stop to the beat, y'all. And you don't stop. Yes, yes, y'all. To the beat.
Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Simone, and all the dancers from that amazing piece. One thing that is extraordinary about this organization is the diversity of people involved in all aspects of the work. Truly extraordinary. I want to introduce next Michael Gwynne. And Michael is a poet, an artist of the spoken word. He's a published author. He's an award-winning actor. You are in for a treat. Michael, I'll invite you to come off camera. And it's great to see you, Michael. I have one question for you. As someone who, is dedicated to telling stories, Michael, why do we need to hear the stories of men healing? Why do their stories matter?
We need to hear these stories about men healing because, well, it matters because of the bigger picture of being able to create a normalcy in transparency when it comes to men feeling brave enough and transparent enough to tell their stories, because it inspires other men to no longer be, silent. They can tell their stories. So their story is important. And, these stories, you never know who's listening and who's been, kind of hiding in shame. These stories create a path so they no longer have to hide in shame.
Lovely, Michael, thank you. And, now we get the opportunity to hear you. So would you tell us what we are about to witness?
Well, I was asked to kind of create a spoken word piece about how important telling a story is. So that was the vibe that I went from. It was easy to do because, I've had some great mentorship from Men Healing, especially Jordan and Jim. That's you're getting ready to hear, like my path to telling my story and why it's important for other men to tell their stories.
Thank you for your contribution. It's wonderful to see you in person.
My name is Michael Gwynne. I'm a survivor. And I'm here to tell you that today, my story matters. Sometimes you get tired of being a mere shell of yourself. Sometimes you get tired of that loud silence little boys hear as eyes full of pain scream their misery. In my head, my childhood trauma was not just the elephant in the room, it was the whole damn zoo. For a while, sorrow was the color of my life, and a deep darkness consumed me. I made so many mistakes with business, people, family, and put them and myself at risk. I was a ticking time bomb of recklessness. My life used to have a drift to it, a current that pushed me through, and yet it was often at odds with the gravity of who I was. Until I told my story, there was a constant push and pull between good and evil, because until I did, I never expected to survive this. But here I am. And I will no longer be a voiceless virtuoso, silenced by his own insignificance, because I know my story matters. It matters because vulnerability needs to be the new normalcy, so that the next generation of young Black boys no longer have to be pawns in this chess match of ignorance and isolation. I tell my story because I know I speak for the forgotten survivor, the intentionally invisible, those who, like me, who were once dirtied by this soiled silence that gave way to the stench of stigma. There was a time when all my days were nights, when even the lifelines on my hands were too afraid to tell my truth. It began back then when trust was treason, when there was no system set up to police predators who preyed on childhood innocence. Where even though I was raised to read masculinity's roadmap, all I did was get lost in its toxicity. And even though it's been difficult to achieve, I've rediscovered the joy that was stolen from me that day on my knees. I've recovered the bits and pieces of me that make me whole, and then I use therapy, prayer, and creative writing as a spiritual glue to cement my own meaning. Now, I tell this story. A story of triumphant struggle, one filled with clever metaphors and witty puns that push this narrative from noose to necessary. A story that goes from heartbreak to heart healing. This man here used to run from the idea of talking about the worst things that happened to him. Discussing my pain felt humiliating and embarrassing. I used to think that I would break down and never recover. I thought that I was the only one to experience anything like this and that no one would understand. Then I met these men, these amazing men healing. Now, I'm a living, breathing transformation, y'all. Mine is a voyage from victimhood to victory, a story of the soul survival. There are so many chapters in this book of Mike G, so many paths on this journey from little him to big old me. They say trauma sharpens our sense of purpose and reminds us to focus on our family and community. That overcoming it sets us on a path where we can give back, and appreciate life by recognizing our own inner strength and resilience. And now, here I am, in my 50s, just finding me. But it's okay. It feels good to no longer hide from hidden horrors. It feels good to be my own ambassador and not the bastard. It feels so damn good, y'all, to know that my life matters, my works matter, my story matters, that you matter, that I matter. Took me a while to get here, but I found redemption in the rhythm of reminders. Oh, I dug deep, clawing, scratching, sifting through years of muddy trauma, layers after filthy layers, and I finally reached the bottom of me and found a treasure chest of change and resiliency. But this is what happens when you have no parental GPS. You rely on social shortcuts. I took the Christopher Columbus route to self-discovery, but here I am. And no matter how different we all are, the trauma, the pain, the terrible things that happen still happen. Survival has become my new language. It speaks a healing that delivered me from the sin of men. It carried me to a place where even though the healing was hard, it was the hope in that healing that gave my soul its momentum. My story matters, y'all, because my passion is to help the little boy and the men find strength to become courageously transparent about their own brokenness. I want men to know that they can edit their stories in ways that foster their own emotional resilience and spiritual renewal. That the trauma narrative can be powerful, positive, and more manageable if they can just diminish the painful emotions those memories carry. Telling your story does that. It did it for me. So I write to heal and gain transformational revealment. Because the worst lie you can tell is the one you tell yourself. Be free, y'all. I have reached the other side of the mountaintop and the view is awesome. It's funny that the places we find community, like our families and friends, they do their best to provide an understanding, but it's often tempered in intolerance. It's time for us to educate them. We can't do that unless we tell our story. But because of the support from this community, people no longer see a man with anger issues because he was hurt. My friends, family, strangers will no longer have to worry that I'll make reckless decisions that put people in harm's way. And I am so grateful to be victorious, to be a conqueror, counting his blessings that he is part of a community who cares. No longer will the pain I endured be a hindrance to my healing. No longer will I have to play down my experiences at the same time trying to make sense of them. I got this. Listen, no boy who's been abused has to ever feel alone again. Just find a way to tell your story. Get it out of your system because it clogs up your wisdom. Why does your story matter? Because it can be the powerful account of self-actualization and hope that saves your life. It saved mine. Look, I know I'll never be the same, but my future is bright with every day that passes. Every possibility is in clear view now. And my story, just like yours, matters. My name is Michael Gwynne, and thank you for letting me share my heart.
Indeed, you matter, and you are hope impersonated, and you've moved me deeply. You'll never know the impact of your words. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you so much.
I hope you all are noticing the pattern here of extraordinary individuals that give to this organization. And, you know, the last person that we're going to hear from is the man that is a magnet for all these extraordinary people. I keep telling Jim that he's always attracting caring, loving people who have so much to offer. And it's an honor to work with you, Jim. It's good to see you. And this whole thing started with the challenge from John Walker. And I just wanted to open up a space for us to say thank you to John, Jim, and then get a update from you, both about MenHealing and about what's happened so far during this event.
Great, thanks, Maria. It's so wonderful to be part of this kind of inaugural launch party that we're doing tonight. And I want to thank everybody who's contributed to the performances this evening. As you mentioned, what this really models is our organization is built on hope and healing. We're really trying to find inspirational examples that change people's lives. And that's the whole base of all of our work. All of you who are contributing tonight, we're about 85% supported by individual donors, and you're making all this work possible to do it. So one of the things I just want to note is that the last 18 months actually was kind of not within our planning strategy. We weren't expecting COVID to come along. And because our events primarily were in person, COVID created a really big challenge for us. And kind of characteristic for the organization, we turned on a dime and we converted all of our events. Last year, 2020, we didn't miss a beat. We continued to be there, and we showed up for male survivors in maintaining our program. We switched to Zoom. We learned a lot about Zoom and started doing our events virtually. And so we kept going forward, and everything that was on our schedule last year continued and happened. And we rolled that into this year. And one of the takeaways, interestingly enough, is that with Zoom now, we realize that we can actually reach more people. And our collaboration with the Men's Story Project to do the survivors' healing journeys, beginning to do more of our events virtually online, doing the Speak Out project we're planning with Forge. We're now really, really expanding beyond the capacity of what we could meet just by the in-person events. So it's actually, ironically, the last 18 months has made us more resilient and has really grown what we're doing. And a couple of the things that we're doing that are helpful is with Zoom now, we're able to start offering online support groups. We just launched our first 4 support groups. We have 32 men enrolled in doing that and hope to expand that. And one other exciting project, we're beginning to develop materials that can be distributed. We actually had our first release last week of materials to survivors who are incarcerated. So within the justice system, we could begin to reach survivors about sexual assault, sexual recovery, or sexual healing recovery. And we're calling that project HOME, H-O-M-E, Healing Opportunities for Men Everywhere. And although it's starting in Ohio, beginning to get materials into prisons there, we actually have realized that the program is going to allow us the possibility of doing the same materials out to recovery and treatment centers. So people who are in all sorts of recovery and healing will be able to begin to get materials that way as well. So we're excited. We're going to be moving beyond our 90th event after this year, moving beyond our 20th year. And so we're really excited. I just want to do a shout out. We just, in the last few minutes, Michael, I guess you inspired, we just got a $5,000 donation above and beyond what John pledged at the beginning from an alumni and his husband in Columbus, Ohio. So we're getting support across the nation, and your $90,000 is going to really help us to continue. And if you haven't already visit our video page. We've got over 40 videos that we've produced just in the last 2 years of men telling their stories and conference presentations that we've done. So it's there for you to access. And we have a YouTube channel where all of our videos are posted as well. Thanks to the incredible team, we've got 18 facilitators, the most dynamic, inspiring providers you ever want to meet. Our board is just incredible. Our support staff, and we have lots of alumni who are getting involved in volunteer work with us. So appreciate everybody, heartfelt, reach out to everybody.
Yes, we are off to a good start. Thank you, all of you, for joining us tonight. We need you. This organization needs you so that we can get to more men, so that we can provide them with the opportunity to experience the work in the weekends of recovery, so that they know that they're not alone, that there are folks in this organization who are highly trained, who have an enormous heart, and who've dedicated their lives to the healing of men. So please support us. And all of the links are here on the chat. And we have recorded this video so that it can be viewed again, and we can inspire through these beautiful performances more people to join us and support the organization. Thank you so much, Jim, for all the work that you do, for all the work that you've done, for inspiring us all to work as hard as we can to make this a success. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Be well, and thank you to the panelists and the performance. We really deeply appreciate all of your good work. Good night, you all.
Good night, all.
I'm driving down an empty freeway, no waiting for the light to change. I'm seeing the sunrise behind